Welcome to another episode of the Guest Safety Officers Shorts. And I'm very lucky to have Simon back here again to talk about dog handling. And one of the reasons why I brought Simon back, because he's actually going to be running a large tracking course this year. And then before I go into that, let's just welcome Simon. Simon, how are you doing?
I'm good, Gary, and thank you for inviting me back again. Really appreciate it.
That's good. Well, let's get this on to go straight away. I mean, the first thing is you're running a tracking course in South Africa. Why, mate? Why?
I'll correct you. It's not South Africa. It's Zimbabwe. I haven't lost my mind, although some people think I have, I'm sure. I've got friends, contacts out in Zimbabwe, and I've done a lot in Africa previously on the anti-poaching side of things, in Kenya predominantly. And I was keen to get back out there, so I've linked up with an organisation called the Anti-Poaching Canine Foundation Trust in Zimbabwe, and a separate organisation, although they work together, with the Zimbabwe Anti-Poaching and Conservation Group. And I went out there in September on a sort of a look-see type visit, if you like, and I was horrified, to be honest, of the situation. This particular area where they are, which is, I'm not going to pronounce this right, I never do, but Maharama, which is in the Zimbabwe area, which is sort of Midlands of Zimbabwe. There's a group of ranch owners, as they call themselves, farmers there, who've basically had to get together and train and supply their own scouts, as they call them, not rangers, working in conjunction with police and Zim Park, so they've got official support there. There's only 20 scouts, 3 of them being dog handlers. Dogs are supplied by the organisation I just mentioned. So I spent 2 weeks with them in September, helping on a sort of voluntary basis, if you like, assisting with training. I went out on patrols, and the big part of this for me was the total lack of resources they've got there. And this is all down to funding. They haven't got any money. And the wildlife situation there is dire. You've really got to go looking for wildlife to find it. And I did, and we found them, but they're terrified because they're hunted. So, you know, they'll freeze and act like a tree and then skedaddle. So you've really got to look for them, and it's extremely worrying. And I'm very passionate about that side of things anyway. So prior to me going out there in September, I'd already set up a sort of Gofundme page, and I'm doing this with a mate and a dog of mine. We're walking the coast of Wales. Slowly, very slowly, to be taking us 2.5 years to about 300 miles, but we're not doing it all the time. It's just wild camping, pack on our backs, that sort of thing. But I'm doing that in support of these guys and trying to raise some money. But I'm not a fundraiser, and I've only raised 550 quid, which is a drop in the ocean. So while I was there, I was trying to think, right, what can I do to help them? They need equipment, they need clothing, uniforms, you name it, they need it. And all this costs money. So rather than me coming back to the UK and begging and asking people for money, I thought, well, what can I do? Well, we were operating out of a former hunting lodge that I fell in love with straight away. And they've kept it pristine. They've looked after it. There's been caretakers there. Hasn't been used for 15 years. It is on the main grid, surprisingly, although it's out in the bush, but not the bush sort of thing. It wouldn't take much to get it back to something suitable for people to stay in. However, I'm going to use the word normal. Normal tourists wouldn't want to go there because you're not going to see a herd of elephants walking past your lodge front 50 meters away. When I was in Kenya, that's exactly what I'd see because it was safe and secure. And Kenya's the sort of what we're aiming towards and what they've achieved. So I'm glad I've been there, and I'm glad I've seen what can happen, because their rhino were on the brink of extinction there 20 years ago, and they've completely turned it around. So the same can happen here in Zimbabwe. So normal tourists wouldn't go there. So I started thinking, right, what can we do here? Let's off-roading, adventure training. It sort of leads. And I thought, hang on a minute, why am I going outside of my remit? Tracking, which is the main thing there. So I've developed a tracking dog course, which is a NASDU overseas endorsed training program. And I've basically mirrored the NASDU tracking and trailing qualification, which is linked to the search and rescue world, and added to it. So it's all their learning outcomes and more. So the course itself isn't just a handler course, where I'm going to teach people how to train tracking dogs. We're there for 16 days. We got dogs that are trained already, but we'll go back to grassroots and sort of pretend that these are early stages dogs. So people are going to get a lot out of this. More importantly, there's money coming in. So there's money coming into both of those organisations I talked about. A massive part of anti-poaching, so I've found in my travels, is education to the local community. And the poaching in this particular area isn't trophy poaching as such. It's meat. It's for hunting to feed people. But it's linked to unsavory characters as well. So it's about education. And if people hunt these wildlife to extinction, number one, they've got nothing left to eat. And number two, no one's ever going to go there and spend money there. So I'm trying to sort of, the bigger picture of this is education and employment. Where people will be employed to look after the camp, clean the camp, cooking. These people live in a local community. This is the first of many courses. So hopefully in this little area, and it is a drop in the ocean, we can change people's mindsets a little bit as well.
So once you've done that, I mean, it's all great. So how is it going to help any dog handlers over here, and what are they going to achieve if they go to this course with you?
So I'll be totally honest and frank. Tracking here in the UK private sector is very limited. There's your search and rescue organisations, but they're voluntary, so it's not paid work. With NASDU has a general purpose level 2/tracking qualification. So if somebody wanted to add that to it, it is something they could use back here. And what we call RPL, recognition of prior learning. We needed a suitable dog. But it is something that I could help them with back here if they wanted to. We've got what's called a level 3 course, which is a general purpose security dog, but it's almost like a police dog level, if you like. And about 75% of that qualification is tracking. Realistically, the chance of somebody operationally tracking as a security officer is limited. I wouldn't say it's impossible. It probably wouldn't get them a better paid job. It might make them more employable because they've got a greater skill base. But more importantly, it's adding to their sort of experience and their training ability. So if somebody wanted to progress into training, this would be a fantastic route, particularly if you're a GP handler, general purpose handler, and you want to deliver general purpose training. Well, we've got a general purpose level 2 tracking qualification and level 3. It would lend itself to that perfectly. Doesn't mean somebody automatically become a trainer, but what they've got is the underpinning knowledge and experience to apply to be a trainer and then be respectively assessed.
Right. What about overseas work? Would they be able to get overseas work?
Again, I think it's limited. It's not impossible. So Africa in particular, it's very difficult to break into in the anti-poaching world. I mean, I've been messing about with it probably for about 10 years now, and on and off, And unless you've got something really special to bring to the party, in a training capacity, I think more than operational, I think employment would be limited, not impossible. Plus, you've got to remember wages in Africa are a lot less than what they are here across Africa, not just Zimbabwe. So I think Westerners, unless it was a life, a life change, meaning I'm not interested in the money. It's
Yeah.
about the experience. And yeah, there is possibilities, but you're not going to come back a rich man. Put it like that.
But what you're saying to me, that if they're going to do this course, they're going to get what they're getting out of it is extra CPD. They're getting
Yeah,
a better skill set. They're
yeah,
they're
yeah.
advancing themselves on that front. So the positives are more than the negatives on that thing. You've got more things you're going to come out, possibly be able to train, and you've got that whole better skill set. So when you're out on the ground, you've got that more experience of stuff which.
Absolutely, and I think particularly for maybe the younger handlers coming through, who are trying to make a name for themselves, shall we say? What a great place to do training, and it's not just me. There's other specialists there from the Anti-Poaching Canine Foundation Trust. We've got scouts with us. One guy in particular, Petrus, who I keep talking about because I just sort of liked him from the second I met
Yeah.
him, although he was scowling at me. I mean, what's this guy doing? Who does he think he is? But within about an hour, we were bestest buddies. You could see I was there to help. But this guy is born and bred in the bush. He can track animals and people without a dog.
Yeah.
And it's just mesmerizing watching him do this. So we're going to teach that skill base. The opportunity of being able to use that back here is probably quite limited, but it's fantastic experience. How great would that look on your CV?
Absolutely, mate. I mean,
Yeah,
as I said earlier, I'd love to go myself. My year, this is booked up. Just for the experience, I'd like to go. But
sure.
as you say, on your CV, when you've got someone the skill set, what they do, it gives an opportunity even to go do search and rescue. If they want to do
Yeah,
a volunteer,
yeah, yeah.
it's given that whole new skill set, which enables them to keep that skill going. I mean, I think it's a brilliant idea. I mean, what is the costing for these things?
So there's three options, if you like. One is the full course. So that'd be the 16-day course, food and accommodation, and the food's very good. We might be out in the bush, but I was fed by the same cook chef that's going to be looking after us on the course. I didn't go without. I put on weight, um, annoyingly. And the lodges are lovely. They're thatched lodges. It couldn't be better. That's £3,500, including pick up at the airport and transport. The camp is about a 7-hour drive from the capital, Harare. So we got that included and back. Half of that drive is on dirt tracks, which is an experience in itself. That's 3,500. If somebody wanted to bring a companion, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, sharing the same lodge, it's an additional £850. And I've also opened it up to a limited number of volunteer observers, which would be in a shared lodge at £950 each. So that's basically covering their food, transport. The reason I've done that is to get people out there and to see it. And I want this to have a long-term effect. It's not just a one-off course. In fact, we started advertising a course in September, and the plan is to run 2 a year. The people who are observing will be involved. They'll watch the course. They'll be involved in the lessons, theory and practical. We'll get them helping with loading the vehicles, unloading the vehicles, carrying kit, laying tracks. I'm hoping those observers will think, "God, I wish I'd booked on the course." And at the very least, come home and tell everyone how great it is. Equally, the biggest driving force for me is I want people to see what I saw, and they'll want to do something about it. So they'll come home and they'll have this experience, and they'll see how tough it is and how desperate it is, and they'll want to fundraise or encourage people to come out on another course, which will all bring money into the kitty.
That's brilliant. So just want to go back to the whole price. So they pay for that. Does that include a certification on their pass?
Yeah. So I based it on all the NASDO requirements, as in assessment criteria and examinations. So I haven't watered anything down, even though we're in the middle of the push. So yeah, it'll be exactly the same. So certifications included, and don't forget, I'm back here in the UK, so it's not like we wave goodbye to them there. So if they want to continue that on back here, with their security dog, is something I can help and support them with as well.
So basically, they've got an ongoing support facility with you being back in the UK as well, which is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So the whole thing, you're getting your 16 days, you're doing your tracker course, you're getting that excellent experience working in Zimbabwe in the bush. I mean, I'm jealous already, but that is that is an experience within itself. And that, if I saw someone's CV with that, and knowing it's come from you as well, I know they've got good quality training. That's gone for a good quality trainer, and again, knowing that you're on the telephone to these people if they need you, that is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And what's the date for this first course going out there?
So the first one is May 5th to the 19th.
May 5th to 19th. Okay.
Yeah.
We're finishing up now on this
Super.
point. But is there an email site to it, or is there any links to it?
Yeah. So the best way to contact me is probably through my website. There's a contact page on there, which is www.simonmallin.com, and send me an inquiry. And I generally always follow up. I do follow up with a phone call, because it's not something you can get across fully on email. Equally, we've done a number of podcasts as well that are on YouTube. They're about 40 minutes long, one with myself and one with two other Zimbabwean guys that are involved with it. So a question and answer thing. And then we also recorded a Teams briefing that we did that you were on as well.
Yeah.
So there's lots of questions and answers there that people can listen to. So it's worth going onto my YouTube page as well and finding those podcasts and having a listen to them while you're driving to work or something like that.
Great stuff. Well, what I do is I'll put them all in the link in the description below. So anyone contacts you. If anyone wants any more information, then feel free to DM me, and I'm happy to pass your information on to Simon. I'd like to have you back on next month so we can continue talking about dog handling in the UK.
Sure. Why don't we do GP next then? General purpose. Yeah.
That's our next discussion with Simon next month. We're going to be looking at GP dogs. I'm going to thank everybody for seeing the show and listening to the show today. If you like what the contents I do and you want to know more, please like and subscribe. Again, once you find Simon's channel, please like and subscribe and follow that gentleman. And generally, let's get some people out there and get this dog handling course under wraps. Simon, thanks for coming up today. And,
thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
I look forward to speaking to you next month.
Great stuff.
Cheers, Simon.
Cheers. Bye.